From We Run With You, I'm Kathy Witten.
And I'm Rob Alvarez. Welcome to Season 3 of Doing Good. In this episode, we talk with Kim and EJ McCaffrey.
Nearly a year ago, their daughter's ruptured brain aneurysm changed their lives in an instant. Through internet searches, Caroline and her family found We Run With You, a community that helped remind them they were not alone. Kim and EJ reflect on the day everything changed and the months that followed, while sharing their pride in watching their daughters face this challenge with remarkable courage and resilience. Hi, Kim and EJ. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to have, I want to say, a really candid and special conversation about everything and anything about Caroline and brain aneurysm awareness. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I love the Bucknell representation.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So good to see you guys. Where I wanted to start our conversation, where it all started, if you can take us back to the day you guys found out that Caroline had a brain aneurysm.
Sure. I mean, it was Father's Day. Father's Day 2025. We had just come from dinner, and Caroline needed to run because she runs for Bucknell track and field and cross country. And she just needed to go for a short little 4-mile run that night. And she was kind of feeling off. Actually, the day before, she had said she was having these weird kind of headaches. And so she asked me to go biking with her, which normally she would ask me to go biking on like a 10-mile run or a longer run. But she's like, hey, will you just come with me? And we were 0.3 miles from the house when suddenly she started like cracking her neck, and then she grabbed her neck. And she had the typical thunderclap headache, and she was sort of freaking out. And I was asking her, are you having a migraine? And she's like, I just need to calm down. Like it feels different. I just need to calm down. And then she sat down, and then I called EJ to say like I asked her if she wanted to ride the bike back. And she was like, no, I can't. And so we called EJ. He came and picked her up. I rode the bike back. And then as soon as she walked in the door, she started throwing up. And I actually started Googling, like it was not a migraine. Like, I think at least Caroline and I knew it was not a migraine. It was not the way that her migraines came on. And I had actually Googled as she was throwing up aneurysms. And EJ looked at my phone and he was like, do you think that's what it is? And I was like, it's not a migraine. I'm like, I think it's something worse. So she decided she was going to take her migraine cocktail, and it just wasn't working. And normally her migraine cocktail works pretty quickly. And she was the one after about, 20 minutes was like, I think we need to go to the ER. So she never lost consciousness. And then, so I was the one that took her to the ER, and she's walking in the ER and she goes, man, I ruined Father's Day. So Caroline never, she didn't lose consciousness. We were fortunate because they did bring her right back to the pediatric ER. She was 18 at the time, and she got seen very quickly. And unfortunately, just like many people with ruptured brain aneurysms, they misdiagnosed her. The first doctor that saw her was adamant that it was a migraine, even though I said, it's not a migraine. And Caroline was like, I've never come to the ER for a migraine. And she kept telling him it was like a 10 out of a 10. Like she literally described every symptom of a ruptured brain aneurysm, the neck pain, the thunderclap headache, the throwing up, everything. And I even said to him when he ordered the second migraine cocktail, I said, I think it's a brain aneurysm. And he was like, oh, let's not go there.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, we all have those stories. So
now, where were you, EJ, and listening to Kim retell us what initially happened and the initial misdiagnosis, clearly, what are you thinking? What's going through your head right now?
Well, I was at home doing normal kind of Father's Day preparation for the work week kind of things, Sunday afternoon. And I don't get migraines. I get headaches, but not migraines. So I don't really have a frame of reference as to intensity or intensity beyond a migraine. So that's kind of where I was coming from. And not knowing a whole lot about aneurysms, but the fact that, she's 18 at the time and it seems quite unlikely that this would occur, however, not impossible. That's kind of the direction that I was coming from as we went through this ordeal late afternoon on Father's Day.
So, Kim, I guess initially what made you Google aneurysms, or what kind of got that in your head?
So Caroline had seen a neurologist in the past just for her headaches. Okay. And she had asked prior, like, what is there to look out for? And, the neurologist at that time, she's a pediatric neurologist, and we loved her. But she was saying, you would really be worried for a ruptured brain aneurysm. She goes, but as of right now, we have no reason to scan you. Like your headaches seem to be getting better. We would scan you if you had blurry vision, double vision, dizziness, the typical kind of symptoms if something was pushing against something in your brain. So she was never scanned. And so I think that's why I was like, could this be a ruptured brain aneurysm? So that's why. And, going back to the story with the doctor, fortunately for us, because I know a lot of people get sent home and they're like, oh, you just have a really bad migraine, like go home, and then it gets worse. And we were lucky that there was a shift change at the hospital and a new doctor had come in. And this doctor had she's won a ton of awards. We had looked her up afterwards. She's like a phenomenal doctor. And she walked in and she said, I don't like the way that this looks. I'm going to send her for a CT scan. And so that was probably within an hour. So, at the end of the day, it was okay. Because she had discovered that she had a ruptured brain aneurysm. So, wow.
All right, I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to go there. It's just so often that because I was unconscious, so I really don't know what was going on. But clearly I was misdiagnosed. I was given, the seeking attention diagnosis, and that was a male ER doctor. But in your case, I mean, geez, what if that doctor was not a female? And perhaps maybe there was the shift change and there was another male neurosurgeon or doctor at that time. I'm just curious. I'm wondering if her symptoms would still have been dismissed. And that is just what is so frustrating, is that I hear so many doctors just do not take women voices seriously. It's almost like you have to have someone advocate for you. And I'm so thankful that Rob was there to advocate for me. And in your case, you were there with with Caroline.
Yeah.
You were her voice. But it's so that I think that that's also the reason why we want to have more of these conversations, so that individuals could, and I've always told people that you need, or women especially, you need to be inconvenient almost. You
Yeah.
need to be inconvenient and insistent in order to be taken seriously. And I just think that's unfortunate. But,
Yeah. Like, I certainly, whether it was, I feel like a neurosurgeon would have picked up on those symptoms immediately, male or female. But if it was still that same doctor, I definitely would have had to fight harder. And I do feel like he was starting to get nervous because he's like, we had said, how long are these migraine medicines going to take? And he's like, oh, they should kick in immediately. And they kept coming back to check on her. And she's like, it's a 10 out of a 10. It's a 10 out of a 10. Like, this is not helping me at all. So yeah, but I definitely know that it was a good lesson for Caroline to learn to advocate for herself. One of the first things because once she was extubated 2 days later, she said, when she woke up, she said, Mom, you were yelling at someone. Who were you yelling at? I'm like, well, I was like, I'm not sure that I was yelling. I'm like, but I was very sternly discussing with the doctor that I thought you were having an aneurysm. And I'm like, I'm not a doctor. Like, I know doctors don't want us to Google things, but I Googled it. Like, and I'm not an MD. Like, please, just listen to me. I didn't go in there begging for, Oxy or begging for some drug. Like, please just scan my daughter's head. Like, that's all I wanted, like, to be done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's often, too, we don't really know what to advocate for, what to ask for, because you don't really know what's supposed to be done in whatever situation you're going through. You kind of have to trust the doctor, but just kind of insisting that something is wrong, that something worse is happening than you think, I think helps push that, because they know what to do with certain symptoms. It's just a matter of how seriously they take it. So.
Yeah. And then I just think the more that I've read, there's just so many stories where, and obviously brain aneurysms happen more in females. And how many support groups did we go to? How many stories have we read that women are sent home with a Tylenol, with a migraine medicine, and then they're back, or something catastrophic had happened. Like, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
So
what happened after they did the scan and somebody took a look and confirmed?
So then they transferred her to another hospital, and I probably shouldn't say what hospital, but they transferred her to a very well-known hospital in Baltimore. And we were there. They did some more scans. They were ready to treat her, but their interventional radiology machines were apparently not working. So there was some water damage, and the machines had not been sterilized. So after 5 hours, the neurosurgeon came to us, because at this point EJ had met us there and said,
I was going to ask, when did you call EJ and say, all right, we got to take a rain check on Father's Day?
Soon as we found out that it was the brain aneurysm, he met us at the second hospital.
And I think it was around 1 a.m., 12:30, pouring rainstorm.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So then after 5 hours of being there, the neurosurgeon was like, I'm so sorry, but we can't treat her. And I thought, to me, that meant we can't treat her. And I'm like, you can't treat her. Like, and he's like, no, she can be treated. Just we can't treat her here because our machines are down. And he said, every phone call I am making is to another hospital in the area. Obviously, we're very lucky living in Baltimore. There were multiple hospitals that they were in touch with to see who could get her the quickest. So what this hospital did is they put in the EVD. I don't know the exact term.
Yeah.
The brain drain.
Yeah, the EVD, you're right.
So they requested that they do the brain drain. And then she was transferred to the University of Maryland. And I think, Caroline was awake, like, I don't want to say fading in and out of consciousness, but she was, trying to sleep just to make her headache go away or just to give herself some peace. But when EJ and I saw her, they let us go in and see her after they put the drain in. And she was, she was out cold. She was, what did she have? The tube.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was intubated. Yeah.
And I think that was like our first, like, oh my God, what just happened to our daughter? There was, the room looked like a war zone. It was, she was operated on in the ER, and it was, we both broke down at that point, like, okay, this is serious and this is crazy. Like, we knew it was serious, but like to see her in that condition was just surreal. But at the end of the day, we met Dr. Chirian, who was like our blessing, to your doc, you feel the same way about your doctor. When she went into surgery at University of Maryland, and when he came around the corner after her first surgery, he and his PA, they both had the smile on their face. And I was like, okay, I think she's going to be okay. Like, that was like the first time. And then he sort of explained what was going on. And, she had the ruptured aneurysm. There was a second aneurysm, and he explained how they were going to treat it from there.
So I guess they had like that night, did they do surgery to, I guess, treat the aneurysm that ruptured, like that night?
Yes, they did. It was actually,
it was early in the morning.
Or that morning.
Yeah. So the rupture happened at like 7 p.m. She got the drain at like 6 a.m. And then she had the surgery. The surgery was complete by 2 p.m. And that was to treat the ruptured aneurysm.
Wow.
Now, did she have a craniotomy, or did she go through
She's had it
by the
all.
femur?
So the original surgery was the coils, but then the coils were filling, which they kind of saw right away that there was some residual filling. So that's why he explained they were eventually going to do the pipeline stent. So they did the coil, they did the pipeline stent, and that was in August. She had a craniotomy to fix the second unruptured aneurysm on July 3rd.
Now,
so she was in.
I was just going to ask. So, we're at this during this whole scenario? Were you all also Googling? I mean, what was your mind frame at that?
I was Googling, but I think apprehensively because I didn't want to think that this was truly happening. But in the course of basically a shade over 12 hours. She has always had a very interesting sense of humor. We're joking around in our family room, and then within 12 or 14 hours, you walk into this war zone with blood everywhere and an unconscious teenager, and you're thinking, how in the heck are we here? Like, how does this happen? Especially to a healthy kid who's a Division I athlete who has never really had any substantial problems. That's what's running through your head, but it's a little scary to accept that it's reality. So I think we were both pretty numb for at least the first couple days, trying to process it all.
Yeah.
I had stopped Googling at this point.
Okay.
At this point, my main go-to was Dr. Chirian. And once Caroline got like extubated and when she was awake, she literally would ask him every single day and ask the nurses, like, am I doing good? Am I doing okay? And they would say, you're doing amazing. Like, you're doing amazing. And so my go-to was him because honestly, I was too scared to Google at that point. Like, I didn't want to read all the bad statistics because the statistics are really bad. And I would just go to him. Like, I remember when he said the clipping will cure her aneurysm. I was like, wait, there's a cure? You can cure an aneurysm? Like, like I didn't even think there was a cure. I just thought that you lived with them. Like I just kept saying, we just need to listen to him. We need to listen to the experts. And they haven't steered us wrong at this point, and no more Googling. And the one time Caroline Googled, she like freaked out because she Googled something about a vasospasm and she asked one of the neurosurgeons to come, or one of the neurologists to come in because she wanted anxiety medication. And he's like, well, can you tell me why? Like, what happened? And she's like, well, I read in my chart that I might have had a vasospasm. And he was like, okay, we're going to talk about this. And he kind of explained the whole thing. And he's like, this is what we have in place for vasospasms. We're only going to bring you to this location if you need massive intervention. This is why you're here for 21 days. Went through the whole procedure. And he's like, do you still need the Valium? And she's like, no. She's like, that makes it so much better. Like, I'm glad I'm here. And so it just sort of made things better. So we decided to just trust the experts at that point.
There was a lot of asking, is this normal? Probably 5 to 10 times a day for 20 days straight. So, and we had implicitly trusted the MDs, as well as the nursing staff. Pretty much everyone we interacted with was phenomenal in explaining things and calming us down when we needed it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And you mentioned that she was 18 because with brain aneurysm, it's not typically, it doesn't happen to young adults. It's usually, the symptoms are, the signs is usually, 40 plus, 40 to 65, female, usually, more so in, people of color. But yeah, so when I had mentioned before, I said, that's the crazy thing about this aneurysm, a brain aneurysm, is that it really does not discriminate. When your time is up, your time is up.
Yeah, I mean, we say that's the statistics, but we've met our share of young adults and children that have gone through, have had aneurysms. So, even just for us as we have gone through this journey when we run with you and meeting survivors, we've met our share of young people going through this.
There was a teenager a couple days after we were there, initially.
Oh wow!
Yeah, another 18-year-old.
Oh wow!
Oh my gosh!
Yep. So
what do you in the 21 days in the hospital? What do you think made the biggest difference for you guys to get through, this very
Heavy
difficult
ordeal.
time and with your family?
I honestly, for me personally, it was one, as soon as Caroline woke up, like her personality was still there. Like as soon as the tubes came out, she's like, do I have brain cancer? Do I like what? Like she was so on top of it with like asking questions that were relevant and joking around. Like one of the first things she said was, she hated organic chemistry in the previous semester. And she's like, I knew organic chemistry was going to kill me. And like all the doctors and her neurosurgeon just started laughing. So like, as soon as she came out with that attitude, I was like, okay, she's going to be okay. And again, for me, the positivity of that there's a cure, that we're going to fix these. We're going to go step by step and we're just going to fix them. We're through step 1. We're going to move on to step 2. Like there were 4 steps for Caroline. And we just took them one at a time. And everyone was super positive. And I just think that was a huge role in all of it. Everyone's positivity, everyone's encouragement. I mean, that was for me. What about for you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, that day that they took the intubation out, you're kind of wondering what it's going to be like. Like, where are we? And I mean, you take into account what had happened within 48 hours. She was within an hour or two, we could tell she was completely intact. Asking questions, cracking jokes, engaged in, and she still has fluid on the brain. She's got a tube coming out of her head. And, she was herself 99%, within 48 hours, which we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if she was ever going to be that, but to be that within 48 hours, and you're looking around this same unit and seeing people that are much worse off, you realize how lucky you are when you walk past a couple of doors where people are unconscious and they may not see tomorrow. So, we knew we were lucky within a couple of days. But like Kim said, the staff, kept us going. And then at the point when she was able to see visitors, you could just see her, come alive. It took a little bit, but,
I mean, Dr. Cherian encouraged her. He's like, I was like, when can she have visitors? And he's like, as soon as she's ready. Like familiar surroundings and, are just going to be a help to her. And don't get us wrong. She was having horrible, Kathy, you would remember this, like her headaches were intense and horrible. And if someone was coming to visit, there was rarely a time she had to push someone off because she would just fight through her head pain. Cause she's like, this is I can get through it. I'd rather see this person. But he's like, bring in the visitors. Like it's just going to help her along. So
now we can't leave Liam out of the picture. When was he told? And who told him? And who gave him the news?
I told him at hospital too. So Liam was in California at the time. And for people who are just listening, Liam is Caroline's brother.
The sweetest brother.
Sweetest brother. He was in California doing an internship. And I called him, it was probably around 11 o'clock his time, so probably 2 a.m. And he wanted to drive to the airport that night. So he got on the first flight that he could. And was he there the next day? He was either there the next day or there like 2 days later. So
he was there immediately, considering where he was coming from.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'm sure that must have been so wonderful to see for Caroline, when she woke up and she had her brother
Oh my
there.
gosh. So there's
You know?
actually there's a funny story. When Liam first saw her was the first day she actually got out of bed. So it was super early. So she had a great nurse named Moses, and Moses was adamant that she was getting out of bed. She was going to sit in the chair. And so Liam comes in the room just as Moses is putting her in the chair. Her blood pressure dropped. She started sweating. She was like about to pass out. Liam is not good with medical stuff. And he was like, okay, I'll come back. Just like turned around and she's like, I can't believe you had to see that. But then they had such a cute relationship. It got better from there. So her blood pressure came back up. We got her, Moses got her all settled, but we kind of lied to her. She was allowed on screens, but we told her she was not. And so Liam was in charge of replying to all of her Snapchats. And so Liam is not a social media guy. So Liam would be sitting in the chair next to her and she'd be like, okay, who's that one from? And he'd be like, okay, this one is from, Robin. And she'd be like, okay, that's a really nice message. So Liam, respond, thank you so much. Heart, 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 exclamation point. And then she'd be like, okay, that one just gets like a heart. And he's like, one heart. And so
what color heart?
Yeah, it was quite humorous.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. No, that's just, I'm laughing because I don't know if you've read my recent posts. I had, I was usually on Facebook a lot, like daily, especially when we were visiting California. So I always would taunt my friends with like all the food posts and whatnot. And everyone was like, oh my God, where's she been for a week? And then I guess a day or two after, I got a hold of my phone and my whole family freaked out. They're like, oh my God, you Facebook in the hospital
right.
Anyway, so my phone was taken away from me. So it's just so funny to hear.
Yeah.
She hounded the nurses enough that they finally gave it to her.
Yeah, we figured brain injury, you probably shouldn't be looking at a screen, or at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then once she got the all clear, we had to pry it out of her hands. But that interim part where Liam was like, the public relations person was pretty funny because we would just sit and watch the two of them interact. And so many messages, so much outpouring of love and people we hadn't heard from in years. And but that was a funny interaction between the two of them. And of course, half of her head is completely shaved and the other is dirty, matted,
Oh, I remember.
almost dreadlocks.
All of that.
Yeah.
So I think that threw Liam off a little bit when he saw that. But he's a great big brother.
Yeah.
So if you, I guess, fast forward to when she was able to come home, what was recovery like for her and for the entire family?
We had a big learning curve. So day one, she came home and she had her craniotomy. She had her craniotomy on the 3rd. She came home on the 5th.
Oh, wow.
And on the 6th, we had 9 friends come over. 5 from Bucknell and 4 from Mount Hebron, her high school. And then she felt horrible the next day. So I'm calling all the nurses. I'm like, Caroline she feels horrible. She has this terrible, terrible headache. It's like at a 7. And they're like, okay, well, tell us what she did yesterday. I'm like, she had 9 friends over for 5 hours. No, I think it was 7 hours. And they're like, okay, you overdid it. She needs to rest. Do you remember? She was in the hospital and she was resting. So we had a big learning curve. And so then we just, we started spacing out the guests again, and we just chilled. We did puzzles. We did Legos. There's a Lego behind me. Liam actually gave her this space Lego that he got for Christmas. Cool. And we just sort of rested. And we do think of it as like bringing home a newborn. Like every day you're sort of learning something new about them. But it was different, and every day I felt like her headaches would either get a little bit better, and there would be certain setbacks where they would be worse one day. But I felt like they just were progressing, and then she'd have a setback and then they get better. And we just were learning how to deal with everything that had happened.
It was kind of at least a couple days, maybe even a week of figuring out where the limit was of what was acceptable activity for her and what was beyond. Obviously the 9 friends was well beyond that. And then we just kind of gradually, we were doing the Legos and everything, and then we started doing nature walks. We live in the suburbs. We're not in
through our neighborhood. Yeah.
So we the groundhog that lives under the elementary school, we gave him a name. There was a couple of families of deer around with parents and little deer, and the nature walks were half mile. They weren't far, but just to get her out of the house. And
that's impressive, though. But everything that you're mentioning, it brings back so much memory, and I'm a bit envious. She had 9 visitors. I probably had 1 each time, and even that.
Had to. That
really.
That was on purpose. Right? We scheduled. I think we had scheduled after we came home. We kind of had to really schedule visitors. Yeah. And we also,
in the hospital. Yeah, in the hospital, I had a nice schedule going, but then at home it just exploded because everyone wanted to see her as soon as she got home. And I was like, all right, this is probably not great, but it's okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you had joined some support groups or had learned some things from support groups. I guess what made you seek out support groups, or were you guys looking for help or information at some point?
So even when Caroline was in the hospital, she wanted to hear from someone her age that had survived this. And miraculously, EJ's cousin's husband's cousin.
Yeah.
Anyway, a relative.
Someone we've never met.
Yeah.
He's in his mid-40s. He suffered a brain aneurysm when he was 18. It was 6 weeks before his 19th birthday, which was virtually the same as Caroline. So he sent Caroline a video, and he talked about the rupture, his recovery, the things he's an extreme kayaker, and he's I can do all of these things again, and so it was oh my gosh, okay, all right, I can do this, and then the support groups were just really to reach out to survivors, and to talk to other survivors. And so the first one I think we went to was a Johns Hopkins one, and it was an in-person one. And of course, Caroline's the youngest one there. And I think it was a week after she had her, or it was less, 2 weeks after she had her open brain surgery. And she struts on in, and everyone's wait, what? You had a craniotomy 2 weeks ago? The one woman's I didn't get out of bed for 3 months. What? So we just started learning, everyone's different. It depends where your aneurysm is. It depends, there's so many factors, and everyone recovers in a different way at a different speed. And it was just nice to talk to survivors. And then, of course, that's how I found you guys, because we really wanted to find an organization of, like, I was searching for athletes, and I was searching for people who have, you know, gone back to running post a ruptured brain aneurysm. And then I was like, oh, I'm like, Caroline. And I would read her a story. Like, every night I would read her a story, like one or two of the stories that are on your website. And they were just incredible. And we're like, all right, we can do this. And then, of course, you know, Liam reached out, and that's how we got to find you guys.
Yep. And we went to a university in was it Minnesota or?
Oh yeah, there was one virtual one. I kind of feel bad that we kind of ghosted them, but yeah, we probably should check in and be like, oh, we're still around, guys. But yeah.
But the challenge, like she said, the challenge was finding peers. You know, we went to the Hopkins one a couple times, and everyone was, I would say, 50 plus. So, you know, she can't really relate to that demographic so well. And then one of the last Hopkins one we went to, there was a young man there who was, I think, 26 or 27. But
he had his rupture in his early 20s.
Yeah, so that was about as close of a peer as we could find, and they did get to talk a little bit. And he had a really scary, awful story. But yeah, it was somewhat challenging for her to find peers until we came across you guys.
I'm glad you guys
did.
And it's really what, I mean, starting We Run With You, we weren't really sure exactly what it was going to become, but that was our main goal initially, was to create a community, just what we call our tribe of like-minded people. And that had gone through the same thing as Kathy did. And one thing, and I don't know, you know, like everything about Caroline's story has been like amazing. Like from how you mentioned, like the minute she woke up, she was like herself, and you know, walking into support group meeting 2 days after creating Autonomy, but I think one thing that is kind of hidden is survivors often struggle with, you know, whether it's survivor's guilt or whatever it may be. Did you guys talk at all anything about how she was feeling mentally and what, you know, she might have felt she needed?
Yeah. She, I mean, she's just, I mean, to go what she went through at such a young age, she's just incredibly resilient, but, and just strong and positive throughout. She has had some help with counseling and such, to help her along the way. Because I'm sure there are some pretty deep issues there. But she's spoken to a few people about that. But just the way she processed it all, I mean, even her friends were like, you're just, and they still are, they're, you know, what an incredible person, what an incredible story, what a story of perseverance and positivity. I always say this, like, I didn't have that at 18. I didn't have that at 25. I may not have it now. So she's just is such an inspiration. She's back up at Bucknell this past weekend, and they had a welcome back party for her, albeit a little bit late, but even like her whole tribe up there. She was back in January, but the support from her girls and her team and the university itself, the university's been amazing. So she's got a huge support group to help her along through this challenging journey.
Well, and I think what, you know, Caroline's survivor's guilt is leading her towards is getting the message out. Like her return, or her gratefulness of what she has and understanding of how lucky she was is joining your organization, is doing the brain aneurysm podcast that she did. She's on April 1st, she's doing with two other people who have overcome challenges. They're doing a presentation that one of the professors is putting on at a middle school at Bucknell, just to talk about like how you overcome challenges and how. So, and I know that like down the road, like she would like to start a support group for people under 30 at the University of Maryland, like down the road, like, she's met people through the article that was in the Baltimore Sun. Like people have reached out to her on Instagram, like, oh my gosh, I have an AVM. Like, oh my gosh, I had a brain, So I think her survivor's guilt is making her say, I have another purpose in life. And through this, it's my advocacy. She changed her major. She's, that's how I'm going to give back. And that's how I'm going to handle all of this. And whether that was what EJ said was part of what she worked through in therapy, or if she did this on her own, or if she's just so grateful. She is just an incredible young little person.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, I can certainly. I mean, the few conversations that I was fortunate to have with Caroline. I mean, you could feel, the excitement and just sheer gratefulness of from where she started to where she is now is. I mean, it's truly phenomenal. I mean, we're going to put it into in terms of like tangible advocacy. My goodness, the amount that she raised for our foundation was just, I mean, she surpassed, I thought, one of our most biggest fundraiser. So for me, it was just, I wanted to show her that we are not only so proud of where she has taken this trauma to, creating a space for other individuals who may or have been going through this. So for us to be able to say, Caroline, this is what you did, and now I want you to even pay it forward even more by having, as you know, the surprise announcement we had for UDPT that this scholarship is going to provide. I mean, they were blown away.
Awesome.
They were completely surprised. They did not know this was going to happen. But that's just the difference that Caroline has already made. Not only is she inspiring other individuals, inspiring survivors to continue to, get better, but also she's making a difference for those professionals who, in the end, are going to be helping these survivors. So she's more than just a wonderful kid. She's just pretty. She's amazing, and we're so fortunate, and I'm so lucky that we were able to not only have Caroline join our team, but what a true, I don't know, it's just off. When Rob said we did not know what we were, the end goal was when we created We Run With You. It was really just for us, it was so that we can share other survivors' triumph and their challenges and their perspective as to how they got through it. But, just hearing that, that this is what got Caroline through, each night or during those hard nights, we feel like, this is awesome. This is what it was about. And I can only imagine how much further Caroline is going to do with this, with her advocacy, the compassion she has alone is just out of this world. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we're
She
grateful.
tried to recruit her neurosurgeon to run with her.
Oh,
And he's like, I'm not much of a runner. But the next day he called his PA and he
Oh,
was
really?
he's like, Matt, you really need to run with Caroline, okay? He's like, I'm going to try and go, but you need to run with her.
I'll make a call to Dr. Russin, because apparently
Exactly.
Dr. Russin knows Dr. Chirian. Because when we said Dr.
Yes.
Chirian, he's like, oh yeah, I know him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good doctor.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So now that it's out there,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I'll make a call.
Oh, I hear you're running the race. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. No, I mean, it was so fortunate that we found you guys. Like, I feel like it was such a perfect fit. So we're also very, very fortunate. So it was great.
So I guess another outcome from this whole, I guess, ordeal that we had to touch on is, I guess this prompted you come from to also get scanned for brain aneurysm. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So Dr. Chirian had suggested that our whole family get scanned for brain aneurysms. And I mean, as much as they did run on EJ's side of the family, but only ran on EJ's side of the family in that we knew that his grandmother had a ruptured brain aneurysm. She survived for 40 years with no intervention because they didn't do intervention at that point. And apparently his great-grandmother had brain bleeds, but we didn't know that at the time. So I was sure that I was going to be just fine. But lo and behold, I also had 2 brain aneurysms. Oh, wow. So they were small. They were each 1 millimeter. But Dr. Chirian was like, we are not going to play around because the aneurysm that was unruptured on Caroline that they clipped, he said it was super thin. So he's like, your aneurysms are 1 millimeter, but we're going to take care of them because we're not taking that chance. So I was like, that's perfectly fine with me. So we did my angiogram, and then a month later he did the clipping. So, and he got them both at the same time. So
That's awesome.
I know. And then Liam was fine. EJ was fine. And then EJ's sister got tested and she has 2 aneurysms. Oh, wow. So she is getting treated. May 20th will be her surgery.
Yeah. See, she's not even a year out and she's saving lives already.
I know. Caroline actually said, she's like, okay, when she found out about Aaron, she's like, okay, I'm glad that everyone's getting scanned, but I'm tired of saving everyone's life. Like, we can stop having aneurysms at this point. So, yeah.
So I'm really curious. I think the reason why I keep going back to you, EJ, is because, Rob took a lot of the burden as far as making the decision. And you have to remember also, I come from a huge family. I'm like the youngest of 9. So when this happened, it was out in California, even though I'm sure my brothers and sisters had their own, they had an idea of where they wanted me to be and, what surgeries or they do or not do. Rob had to, because he's the spouse, he had to ultimately make the decision. But what I want to know is, when you found out that Kim had 2, what were you thinking? You're like, oh my God, am I going to have to possibly relive this again? Or, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, you're like, you've just gotten through it with an 18-year-old kid, which was quite difficult. And then you're like, oh my God, we're going to do this again. Like, and much better at that point the statistics, what the outcomes could be, what the future could look like, all these different things, and you know, you're apprehensive, but you have no choice other than to push forward and lean on your network and lean on your people, and they'll help you get through it. And we already knew we were going to get incredible care from the University of Maryland, so that was at least one solid thing in the whole ordeal.
And they were not ruptured, so
True. Yes, this was not as dire as Caroline's situation, but still, albeit concerning.
Yeah, still a lot of risk. Yeah.
But Dr. Chirian is a savior to us. So, what better hands could you be in? Like, the guy is just amazing. Obviously, his skills are incredible. His demeanor with patients, like, he spends whatever time he needs to spend with you. He explains everything. We owe a lot to him. So, and then the rest of the team, there's so many other people on his team that have been outstanding. So that constant, and then just Caroline and Kim, we had such great support, meals and whatever we needed. We were staying with Caroline every night, and we'd come home and have a plate of lasagna and a salad in our garage refrigerator that somebody put there. So you lean on your people. You have to. You guys, I'm sure, did the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the support is very important. And we started. Her niece, who was by my side the whole time at the hospital, she went online and started
they call it the meal train.
And
so
everybody signed up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that like a lot of little things, and also the visits to kind of help, because when this all happened, I had to kind of work remotely before work remote was a thing, because I was forced to when we were in California, and then we got back, I was like straight back to work, so we kind of had to schedule folks to kind of get her out of bed.
Yeah. The Kathy sitter.
And you had two younger kids.
I had two 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Somehow we got them. I don't know if they were. Yeah, I don't even know if they were home, because they got excused for the semester, so they got, because of what happened to Kathy. But
wow.
But also, a lot of this I've kind of forgotten. But there was part of me where I was like, I can't leave her for the whole day. I don't know. Somebody needs to. What if she collapses again, or what if something happens again? So that was always a worry. So I was like, can somebody check on her? Can we Can we create a schedule and somebody check on her at least a few times a day? So
I was lucky because EJ worked from home. So when I went back to work, it was good that he was home with her. So.
And I did a lot of, not a lot, but I did a fair bit of working from the hospital bedside, literally. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a project manager, and sometimes I would have to get somebody else. Like, I can't lead that status call today with a bunch of monitors beeping in the background. So could you take that one for me? But they were, the company I worked for was fantastic, and supportive. And sometimes, if I needed a 5-hour chunk in the middle of the day, they would, it was no problem. So a little different with Caroline, when it was the two of us, we could kind of make that work. And then my cousin and my sister were here, and various others, helping out along the way, running back and forth to the house, or picking up food, or, whatever we needed.
I think Rob's about to do some rapid fire, right?
I think so. We always close our podcast with rapid fire questions. So, and we'll let you get an answer from each of you, and just kind of quick answers that
pops into your head.
Okay.
Okay. First rapid fire question is: when life gets overwhelming, what do you do to clear your head or reset?
I feel like I go to yoga.
I'm a retired runner, so
I get my keys.
I'd probably, walk or, do something, just to kind of get away from it for a little bit. A lot of walking around like the neighborhood and stuff. Just
Where would you say is your quote unquote happy place?
happy place. I mean, I would
The
say it's home
mountains.
when the kids are here because, like your kids are older now. Like it's so rare that the four of us are together. Or we also do a lot of traveling. So traveling with our kids. Um, Liam is 22 and Caroline's soon to be 19. So that's the most valuable thing to me is just
She
being with
is
the
19.
four of us together, which
That's what I had
You,
thought. Isn't she 19?
yeah, you guys can hear me.
I
Okay,
meant,
she's 19. Yeah, she is 19.
Yes.
I meant soon to be 20. Yeah.
And you heard me.
20 in
The
July.
mountains. I go to the mountains. That's my happy
Mountains.
place.
Ah.
But it's usually the
Oh, that's
mountains
great.
with my family because we all like to hike.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nice. So, what is your number one advice for someone going through the same thing that you guys went through last Father's Day and after that?
I mean, I would say research, like know what if they're planning to do something or they're asking you what they should do, like know about it, be knowledgeable to like we were talking about before, so you can advocate either for yourself or for your, family member. I actually work in rare disease and a lot of these families, they have to know more than the doctor
Mm-hmm.
because the doctor may not know, as much about the condition that they do. And they have to advocate for themselves or their child or their family member. So be knowledgeable.
That's good.
And I would
How
say
about you,
kind of what
Kim?
EJ said before, like lean on your people. Like going through something like this, like I can't imagine if we didn't have all the support that we had from just friends coming to visit or friends making us meals. And me on the other side, like I just leaned once we like fell in love with Dr. Chirian, like I just leaned on him. Like he would say, we could go this route or this route. And I would say, you know what, you're the expert. Like you tell me what you would do.
Yeah.
So like I get like with a rare disease, like you want to do as much research as you can, but like if you love your doctor, like go with that guy. Like I'm a big advocate
good.
for if you trust your doctor, you listen to them, but you have to trust your doctor. Like we've all had doctors that were like, what? Like we don't like them. So you got to trust your healthcare people.
Yeah. No, it's a good balance of two, of both things. So the last one is, do you have a life motto, or if you don't have one, what would it be?
That's a tough one.
I can do this one. So I feel like now I used to laugh at the phrase YOLO, you only live once, but I feel like Caroline and I have used that a lot. Like just recently she was about to purchase her Lollapalooza tickets in Chicago. And she's like, Mom, is this
awesome.
too expensive? It's $399. And I was like, baby, you wanted to do this last year. You only live once. Like, and we're going to Alaska this summer. That's like our summer vacation.
Oh.
And everyone's telling us we have to do one of those helicopter or plane rides where you land on the glacier and you get this crazy experience. Like everyone who's been to Alaska is telling us that. And Caroline's like, you only live once, Mom. You can't be scared of everything. I'm like, okay, you're right. You're right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, YOLO. That's mine too. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is awesome.
Well,
Yeah, because I think after all of this, I definitely have, and maybe this will go away. Caroline keeps telling me I need to go to therapy, but like, I'm a little like scared, a little scareder of things. And she's like, you can't live like that. Like, you can't, don't let what happened like affect your future. And I'm like, you're right. Like, you're right. So, I'll take my advice from her.
Yeah. She's wise
Yeah,
her
I was
years.
going to say that. I was like,
Yeah.
if anything this aneurysm did to her, it only made her wiser. It's like, geez,
Yeah.
I don't think I was nearly a quarter of what Caroline was, at 18, no, 20.
Yeah. And we
And
always
it's so
laugh.
true.
We're like,
YOLO, God,
yeah, I know. We always laugh that Liam was born at like 85. Like, Liam was born like this old man who's like very thoughtful and very like frugal and but like Caroline has definitely caught up, but she definitely has her fun as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I have to say is I was so happy that we finally got to meet in person November, and
Yes.
I'm just so happy that not only was the outcome clearly was so positive and everything worked out, but at the same time I was just like, my God, these two, meaning you EJ and you Kim, like, you guys have the best two kids ever. I thought I had the best kids, and then
You do
I
have the
still
best
do.
kids.
I do. But it's just amazing how, some I have to admit, sometimes you forget how fortunate and lucky you are until
Yeah.
something, tragic happens. But you guys are awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
people.
we're
Awesome humans.
Same as you guys.
we're four lucky people. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's coming home on Friday, so we're looking forward to that.
Cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. It's always fun to reconnect, and it's even better to get it recorded and share with everyone.
this is always a pleasure to speak with like-minded individuals, and like I always say, know the facts, save a life, and that's exactly what you, Kim, are doing, and Caroline, and thank you so much again for joining us. And look at you, Kim, keep your eyes on the road, okay?
Listen, I used to be a surveillance specialist, so listen, I got this.
Oh, that's
I can
right.
I can look at tablets, I can talk on the phone, I can do lots of things at once.
We Run With You is a nonprofit with a mission to improve the lives of people suffering from brain injury and disease by funding research, raising awareness, and providing support for survivors and their families. Find out more at WeRunWithYou.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment or review. Until next time, keep doing good.